Welcome back to Finding Happy with Jim Bacarro. Hindi na siya with Happy Dad because of the confusion on Spotify. People keep looking for Happy Dad, my solo music project, pero they end up here and they're wondering bakit ako nagle-lecture. So just to avoid confusion, this is Finding Happy with Jim Bacarro, and joining you today in this episode are I have how many? I can't see, but anyway, I think I have 18 students in the classroom right now. Anna, up to you if you want to turn on your camera. So anyway, for this episode, our Podtrons, members of our Patreon on jimandsab.com, they have joined the live version of this. So what's gonna happen today is we're gonna do a Malibag. There are tons of letters that I have to go through. And this is the first step. I realized that the last episode I uploaded on Spotify was in August last year. What's going to happen in this episode, I'm going to read the Malibag, I'm going to give my thoughts, I'm going to share my thoughts, and then we're going to have a quick open forum. We can look at the chat and maybe people have additional input that they'd like to share. Yeah, so let's go. Let's start with the Malibag. Here it is. I'm Anton, and I'm Anton, and I'm turning 22 this August. It's been 2 years since I graduated from college, and I'm so stressed out because I feel like I don't have my life together. I'm a photographer, and I graduated from an art school here in the Philippines. Since then, I've tried getting a full-time job in companies, but it didn't work out well for me because it was either I was unhappy, or the boss, the people were shitty, the pay was crap, or all of the above. I decided to go freelance this year. Hindi ko alam kung tama na nag-freelance ako. Comparing freelance and full-time photographer work, regular yung cash flow kung naging regular ako. Pero bad trip ako sa freelance. Sorry. Pero nagiging bad trip ako kasi konti yung pera. I don't know kung dapat tiniis ko na lang yung konting hirap sa companies na yun. Don't get me wrong, I love photography, but the contribution that I need to give dito sa bahay is kulang. I still live with my parents and I can't always rely on them, right? My parents won't kick me out or anything if I don't contribute, pero tapos na kasi responsibilidad nila sa akin. There's more on my mind, like finding a mentor or looking for other companies, agencies that would be better fit for me. But in this pandemic, ang hirap. I need your thoughts, tips, or whatever you have to say. Okay, so quick recap. Anton graduated from art school. He's a photographer. He started working as a regular employee in companies and decided to go freelance, but now can't manage, enjoying the perks of freelance life, which is freedom, own time management, versus the stability, the financial stability of having a regular job. Okay, so here are my tips. Okay, first, before I start, I just want to share yung experience ko as a freelancer. It wasn't long and it wasn't significant enough for me to say that I was a full-time freelancer for 5 years or whatever, but I think the experience itself and the field that I joined was so significant in my development as professionally and even personally. So I started after multiple, jobs. I tried different jobs. I decided that I wanted to start Linya Linya. And during that time, it was a very tough conversation between Saab and I. Saab. Hi, Sabi. And the conversation was, Saab, pwede bang saluhin mo ako give me 6 months na I'm gonna quit my job and I'm gonna try this out and I'm gonna but sabi ko, it's like when I mean saluhin, sabi ko parang my prior position kasi was, in terms of money, it was at a good rate na. Something that could support both of us and, but the good thing is that Saab also works and she also earns income. So pretty much it was me saying like, hey, pasalo for 6 months, gagawin ko maganda to. But in the meantime, I'm gonna find ways para at least yung bare minimum masalo ko, mabigay ko. So sabi ko, yung current responsibilities ko, for example, let's say groceries, electric bill, internet, ganyan. Sabi ko, I'll find ways. So yun yung first time in my life na nag-racket talaga ako and nag-freelance. Nag-freelance ako. So what did I do? I looked at what were my 2 skills ba? Parang, saan ba ako magaling? And what can but at that point in time, parang I was thinking, aside from saan ba ako magaling, it was also, ano ba yung kakayanin kong gawin araw-araw? Okay? Na parang, that won't be such a pain in the ass. Kasi, my main focus was building linya-linya. So sige. So, I took 2 jobs. One was, I think I've shared this naman before. I was a clickbait article writer for a Korean website. So, I had to write clickbait articles. So, pretty much like Kim Kardashian learning how to drive, mga ganon. Or mga Rob Kardashian can't diet anymore. But mga ganon. And it was a very, honestly, it was actually a fun experience in the beginning. Especially when, parang that job kasi, if you get more hits, you get more clicks, mas tumataas yung pay mo. So, it was really funny kasi like parang I spent 4 hours reading about yun nga, again, nung time na yun kasi the Kardashians were very hot. I mean, like they were trending and all these things. So, and ako, you know me, you know how it is on the podcast. I'm not the trend type. Like I don't know what's happening. Like I still think that Taylor from Twilight is gayot. Alam mo yun? Parang I still think that Kristen Stewart is dating Saint Vincent. Ganon. So that's how out of date I am. But this forced me to be uncomfortable, So I had to adjust. So anyway, I did that, and then I realized na, oh shit, I'm spending more time on this, reading Kardashian articles than doing my primary goal, which was building a company, building Linya Linya. Parang 80% of my stress was coming from this. Okay? So therefore, I progressed to writing jingles. Sabi ko, saan pa ba ako magaling? Oh, okay. I write songs. I can do that in my sleep. So I started writing jingles. As in talagang kinareer ko. I used all my networks in advertising and I made pitches. As in, I called it Cricket and the Bear. I made artwork. I burned CDs. Ano pa yung CD nun? People were still listening to that. And I drove to different agencies. Pinadala ko, sinabmit ko. And yun, talagang in fairness, like after a few weeks, I got a call na parang, this big hotel in Boracay, they need something. So, whoa! So I got it, and then I had to do the whole, the wedding video. So again, nakakatawa kasi while all of this was happening, I was, in the morning, pupunta ako sa bodega namin in our condo. I would, look through the stocks, anong shirts yung send out ko today. And while I was doing that, I would have to write the Kardashian article, thinking about okay, how do I make Kim Kardashian different? Like, how do I make this article different? Or like, make fake NBA trade rumors. And then, at night, I would have to continue making a song. A song for a wedding. And alam niyo naman, I think if you listen to Cheats, um, hindi naman kami mga you look beautiful in white, 'di ba? Um, so anyway, the reason why I shared that is just so you know na I did go through the freelancer life. I did know I did feel that feeling of, oh my God, when is my next paycheck? You know, bakit wala akong project? And then nakakatawa, when you do get the project, you spend most of the time kind of complaining because, especially for in my case, for the jingle making, music is my love, no? That's my passion. And I was combining it with work for the first time in my life. And so, I just wanted to let you know na, yun nga, uh, I was, um, I was a freelancer. And so, which leads me to my first lesson. Being happy will make you successful. Being happy will make success a byproduct. And what do I mean by that? Um, at the end of the day, yung learnings ko from that experience was, okay, um, I would write about this. I would write about an NBA trade room or whatever. When I was happy, when I was exciting, man, like I was going over and beyond the daily quota. I was submitting more articles, so I was really on fire, pretty much. And then when it came to a point na, okay, shit, I'm losing focus on Linya Linya. I'm sick and tired of reading about I can't believe wala na akong ibang maalala. Yung Kardashian lang yung naalala ko. Pero anyway, like I'm sick and tired of writing about Kardashians. I couldn't do it na. So, and then my other thing, yung sa jingles. So, in the beginning, it was so exciting because they're like, oh shit, cool. I can make cheesy songs for fun. You know, I had to make a energy drink song. And then the peg talaga was everything that I don't like in music. You know, pretty much like halftime halftime rock and roll na mga akala ko wala na ganyan, whatever. So it was like slow motion in the rain, ganung vibes. But it was so fun. And that's why masasabi ko na yun nga, I was successful when I was happy. So I think that's one thing that you shouldn't forget na if you're freelancing, make happiness your driver and learn to allocate where you will get your happiness and where you will get the baseline necessities. So for example, me, yun nga, yung mindset ko noon was I'm not saying parang hindi ko passion gumawa ng clickbait articles, but it pays the bills. I'm not gonna make that a source of happiness. I don't expect it to be a source of happiness. Yung jingle making, music is fun. I love music. This is easy. Okay. Pero again, it eventually came to a point na pwede bang ibahin mo? Parang kulang sa rock and roll. So I was getting those comments and I was like, oh my God, this is what I did not want. Like I'm starting to not like music. So anyway, I'll share that later. Okay, my second point, makisama sa ensaymada. Okay? So, we're Filipinos, we're a warm and hospitable race, diba? We want to enjoy the company of who we work with. And ang memory ko talaga in my corporate life was, I called it talaga the ensaymada culture. Na we're gonna discuss, let's say, the purchase order of these things. Everything is so objective. The point of this whole meeting is about how many purchase orders in Visayas, in Mindanao, ganyan. Bakit kailangan may ensaymada? Diba? Like, why? Parang, And it's not me being angry at snacking. It's more of, oh man, hahaba yung usapan. 'Di ba? Hahaba yung usapan. But, kahit ganun yun, ganun tayo eh. Ganun ang Pilipino. So, the reason why I wanna, focus on that is because in freelance life, it's not just about talent. Like, talent can only get you so far. And in an ensaymada culture, kailangan mo marunong makisama. Because at the end of the day, in my experience, so I work both in the agency side and in brand side. So just so you know, if you're in advertising, you pretty much choose which director you want to work with, which photographer, which food stylist, which fashion stylist. And, the discussion there is, of course, it's there na, magaling daw si ganyan. Si Jim daw magaling gumawa ng jingle. Diba? Magaling, nakakatawa yung songs. Ito yung nagawa niya. Pero I promise you, 75% of the conversation would be, si gano'n na lang. Kasi, nakakatawa siya. Alam mo yun? And you feel it eh. Once the pre-prod starts, once you're actually making the bidding and you're choosing the bidding, you feel it. Now, when the supplier or the freelancer is there, there's a level of comfort that everyone is like, oh, I'm so glad I chose this person. So yun. So to Anton, if you're a photographer and you seem like you're having issues dealing with your bosses and whatever, just take note na if you're gonna take the freelance life, it does not mean you no longer have coworkers. It does not mean you no longer have to, hindi mo na kailangan makisawsaw sa ensaymada culture. Okay? Yeah. The third one is don't be brand X. So you know how yung mga Tide and yung mga Champion commercials, diba? Like, this is brand X, this is Tide. Tide makes it whiter. Brand X doesn't. So, when I say don't be brand X, you yourself have to start treating yourself as a brand. And when you're a brand, okay, I think the one thing that people forget most of the time is that when you're a brand, people really don't care about you. They just care about what's in it for them. Okay? So that's why in my work in brand management, we would spend months just gathering insights, doing focus group discussions, just to find out what are people looking for? What do they need? How sweet, why do they love pineapples? Why do they love this type of deodorant? How does it make them feel? Because that's what the brand will communicate to the customers. They're gonna say, hi, I'm deodorant brand. I don't make your armpits sweaty. That's what you want, no? I can give that to you. And now the difference is, the part of the process that changes is what can you offer that's different from everyone else? So now that you know na, okay, they obviously want deodorants that don't make their armpits wet and sweaty. But there are 10 other deodorants offering the same thing. So that's when a brand gets really deep into, okay, that's why maglalagay kami ng L-carnitine dyan. I freaking hate L-carnitine. Anyway, lalagay natin ng L-carnitine yan para if you put on deodorant, you have dry armpits and you lose weight. Awesome. It's fake, of course. Pero I mean, so it's finding ways to make yourself different but still listening to them. And how can you what added value can you offer aside from price? So anyway, this isn't supposed to be a brand management thing, pero I mean, in relation to you, yourself, your personal brand, you have to have that same level of mindset. So for example, si Anton, he's a photographer. You really have to find out, how do freelance photographers get gigs ba? What do clients look for ba? Is it really the quality of the photos, or is it speed? Is it um ano ba? Is ano is having a portfolio ba, is that important? Blah 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 blah. What do they need? What do they need? What do they need? And then you find out how you're going to attack it. How are you going to put yourself out there that separates yourself from everyone else? So, for example, you say you do research, you see that clients let's say clients say, "Hey, ano yung hipster? Gusto ko ng hipster stuff. Hipster, 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 hipster." Then, what if you're like the first, and then you say, okay, they want hipster shit, okay. And then you look around, okay, no one's really offering that. And then you project yourself as that. Diba? That's what you offer now. You're an artist and you do art. You do artistic product shots. Diba? You do aesthetically pleasing brand shots. So therefore, once again, you stand out, you give them what they want, and you have yourself a brand. A brand that people will keep trying to get. Okay. Next. Great expectations. You need to define your goals. I always say this, paulit-ulit to, I think in every podcast, I think I nasisingit ko to, pero it's true. Lalo na if you're a freelancer. Because if you don't set your expectations, then you're setting yourself up for disappointment. No matter how successful you are. So that's crazy. Kasi, for example, if you are, yung example ko, I knew that writing Korean clickbait articles was just meant to pay the phone bill. So therefore, yun yung expectation ko sa kanya. Hindi ko expectation sa kanya na, how come I don't feel like I'm a valued writer? Bakit hindi ako nagiging mas matalino? Alam mo yun, parang, yun naman yung point eh. Pero because I set my expectations there, parang ako, the thrill lang of collecting the paycheck, doing something, and getting the payment, and paying for my bills, that was the thrill. So my expectations were met. Now, to the jingle making business that I had, that was pretty different because I expected na music is fun. Like, music can never not be fun. So therefore, when I was getting more clients and I was getting more those types of interactions na, pa-edit, pwede pa-revise, parang yung drums hindi siya tunog rock, mga ganun. I was, I took it personally, and therefore, I failed in that respect na I didn't set the proper expectations. But when I got my rhythm and I saw na Linya Linya was starting to do well, then I changed na my expectations of the jingle making thing. Nasay ko, okay, Linya Linya is starting to fly. Ang naging expectation ko na lang dito sa project na to is if may makuha ako, cool. Pang, fun money ko yun. 'Di ba? Pero, that's why yun yung sinasabi ko na, you have to set your expectations because, let's just say, if ang expectations ko talaga is creative fulfillment, 'di ba? Yun yung ini-expect ko dun sa project na yun. Kahit I was making, let's say, 1 million per month or whatever, I would never be happy because I was expecting it to fulfill a need that I think na I know it would never actually meet. So, there. I mean, that's the importance of, having, parang putting yourself in a position to really understand, why am I doing these things, 'di ba? And then therefore, you can be happy with the results. Kasi you know na this was meant for this. Another example, I think as a musician, when I finally did this exercise as a musician, that's when it changed my life talaga. Parang no longer was I disappointed of how things turned out in terms of my music when I set na the proper expectations. Na the expect, especially with the quarantine, na music is my outlet. It is, what do I expect from it? What is happiness in music? And my measurement of that is self-fulfillment. Am I enjoying recording this song? Am I, that's it. That's it. I don't care if it's a hit. I don't care if nasa tutugtog ako sa ASAP. I mean, I read, parang, I, I let go. Na parang, this is just fun, man. Like, this is like playing basketball on the weekend, or this is like, biking. Parang ganon. It's, di ba, parang, again, if you're not a musician, it's the same thing eh. Parang you won't naman bike thinking, if you get into biking and you set expectations na, okay, dapat magiging full-time bike, cycling professional ako, then you'll end up disappointed. Diba? So yun. Pero again, I'm not saying set your expectations low. I'm just saying na you allocate it to the proper channels. Na parang be honest with yourself. Na if you think na, for example, ako, I'm not gonna say na I'm gonna na ano ba? I'm not gonna say na parang I'm going to be as big as Lady Gaga. Diba? Parang wala lang. Parang wala na ako dun sa ganung... So I'm honest with myself because I'm not putting in the time, the effort. I know that the situation is different. So therefore, I have to be honest with myself. So, yun. So ako, Anton, like, you're currently struggling because nagfi-freelance ka and then nababad trip ka na walang pera, ganyan-ganyan. Pero again, you have to set goals for yourself. Kasi, kunwari, let's say next week, magkapera ka. What will make you happy? Anong amount ba? How do you know if you're doing better this month versus last month? That's the more important thing as opposed to, kasi you'll just always end up wanting more. You always end up feeling like kulang. And then, okay, another one. Passion and work should help each other grow. So for freelancers, most freelancers, obviously, the reason why you are freelancing is because you have a special skill. Now, the problem with freelance work is it will muddle with your passion and your work. So for example, I know one of our students is an artist. Okay, let's say you're good at drawing, you're good at design, and then eventually, if that becomes your livelihood, magkaka-point talaga na, oh my God, I can't touch pen again. I can't look at design again because honestly, in freelance work, there will come a time na you will start reserving your energy, your knowledge from sharing it with work. What do I mean by that? For example, ako, nahirapan ako when I did the jingle thing kasi I'd write a song, sobrang ganda. Tas ang iisipin ko, shit, dapat pang cheats to. So Nagkaganon. Like, okay, hindi ko maganda to. Hindi ko gagamitin to para sa kliyenteng to. And that'll come with, and it'll, they're also, and the thing is kasi with every passion, everyone will constantly learn, no? Parang, how do I get better at photography? How do I get better at music? How do I get better at whatever? And as you continue to do that, you know, um, you will have to share that with your work. And but there, I'm telling you, there will come a time nga na parang ikaw, sayang naman, parang let's say mababaw lang. Kuwari, ang ganda ng filter na to or whatever. Or, hindi ko alam, I keep going back to photography. Pero ang ganda ng ganito. Maano ka na, parang mandidiri ka. Like, man, I can't believe I'm gonna give it to this douche who just wants to, wants to do another event. Go tayong event. So anyway, ang point ko is, you need to find the balance of, sorry, that's why I kept talking about the expectations, because if you set that properly, it will help you to make both your passion and your work parang work together. Kasi, so in my case, when I realized na, okay, I'm not gonna see this as music. Alam mo yan, parang, I'm not gonna expect this to fulfill my self-fulfillment of music and my love for art. Nung nagawa ko yun, it was so easy to just, ay parang kumbaga, ang nangyari sa akin is, gumaling ako in both fields. Because I was like, freak, I hate writing this, you look beautiful in white, therefore, napapansin ko, may level of freedom ako in terms of when I would execute stuff with cheats that I felt like, because like nakulong ako for the past few months trying to write "You look beautiful in white" for this client, and then when you let the animal out of the cage, and that animal was me writing the whole second album of Cheats in like a week. Kasi sobra akong like, parang this is so fun. Like I'm just writing and I'm just writing music, I'm jamming, and it's just freedom. This is my passion. I know na. And then at the same time, while gumagaling ako dun sa main passion ko, when I go back to the freelance work, I apply some stuff. Kasi parang kumbaga, bibigyan ko na siya ng, I give them equal attention and time. Not necessarily, it doesn't have to be, it doesn't have to be na, if yung let's say si Anton, hates talaga client work. Yun yung, that's what I'm trying to push na, set your expectations so you don't hate it. Kasi if you keep hating it, or you keep, then, you're, mali na. Kasi ang mangyayari dyan, you're gonna lose your passion for photography mismo. That's what's gonna happen. And I've seen it so many times. Like, I have so many friends that, who got into music as their profession, and they have a hard time separating it. They can't. And that's life. Pero again, you have to set expectations. Because at the end of the day, what you want to happen is that your passion will help your profession, and your profession will help your passion. Lastly, si Anton asked about mentorship. So sabi niya kasi, hindi ako makakuha ng mentor, sasali pa ulit ako sa company kasi kailangan ko ng mentor, blah, blah, blah. Here's the thing. Mentorship can be found everywhere. Okay? Especially in the digital world that we live in now. Okay? Big difference. When I was starting Linya Linya, okay, I had no one who had the time to discuss every little detail. And if you're starting a business, that's the hardest part Kasi you can obviously get books, you can look at YouTube, you can watch podcasts, and learn about the general, um, the broad directions in how to start a business. Pero nung time ko na yun, nahirapan ako kasi, wala naman ako mausap. Sino yung kakausapin ko tungkol sa SSS, 'di ba? Sino ang kakausapin ko tungkol sa pag-manage um, ng rental shit na or whatever or ganyan. All these things that I had no idea because nga for the longest time I was in corporate. But what I learned was you can find a mentor everywhere. And paano ko nalaman yun? It was me simply seeking help from different people who had different fields. And that's one of the things na parang, let's say, one of the biggest lessons that I learned in running a clothing and company and a content creation company was from a musician. Alam mo yun? Parang a talk with a musician na, so, it's actually about you going out there, looking for help, and seeing how you can fine tune your skills by seeking different skills in different fields. So wag ka magpasara na kailangan ko ang only way na I can get better is looking for a mentor who's a freelance photographer na dating ganito para matuturo niya sa akin ganito. No, it can be as simple as your uncle who runs a hardware store and he can teach you the benefits of doing this. It can be a high school classmate that is a priest and he talks to you about being honest with yourself and setting expectations, blah 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 blah. Yun. So ako there, I mean parang I think that's the biggest difference, and I think one of the hurdles that I faced early on in my career was I kept looking for help. I kept looking for parang that's why I kept applying to different jobs. Honestly, like parang napunta ako sa mga major corps na I hated those yung ibang companies that I joined, but sabi ko dito ako matututo. True, it's true, but there are other ways to do that, and it doesn't require you seeking employment. Kasi once again, if you set expectations properly, then at least you can be driven to make the best decision for yourself.